My budget for my website is $3,000. I know I'm not the only one that's heard that before. I've been doing this for over a decade, and I can honestly say I pretty much have heard everybody's budgets at this point. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you how to overcome budget constraints during a sales call to make sure that you're closing deals without the money insecurities or money circumstances from other people, especially the ones you, my friend, might be carrying with you.
Hello, what's your name?
Hello, everyone. My name is Alejandro. I am a web consultant and I help web designers start and grow a web consulting business. If you want to learn more about what I offer, there is a link below this video. So let's talk about this budget and this constraint. I want to talk about first principles here. By the way, if I'm looking down, guys, I take notes. I want to be respectful of your time and I want to be intentional in my sharing. So I hope you don't mind. So let's go over the first principles. In order for us to overcome these budget constraints, well, I want to ask us a simple question here. What is a budget? Right? Let's define budget. So a budget is a mechanism that is used to be able to manage cash flow and prevent overspending. That is what a budget is, to manage cash flow and prevent overspending. There are personal budgets and there are business budgets, right? So with that in mind, I want us to keep something else that I don't think a lot of people think about, and is all of these budgets, when people have a budget, they come with perceived value. There's an attachment of some type of perceived value, and you don't just say, "Oh, I want a website for $3,000," and you didn't just say that number for no reason. You are either grabbing some information from different sources, different quotes, proposals. Maybe you saw somebody's website and they said $5,000 website package or whatever. And so all of these budgets comes with this perceived value attached to it, right? And the reason why this is so important to know is because that means they're loaded with information that lacks wisdom. And what I mean by that is, look, we live in an era where there is so much information, right? There is not a lack of information. There is a lack of wisdom. All these people knowing how to do things, but they don't do it. Therefore, they don't get the wisdom that comes from the doing, right? So you have all of these web designers in the market space, the marketers, you name it, and they have their services and they have their pricing. But one of the things that they're lacking is there is a lack of a clear, concise sales process in which we can dive deep into a business owner's problem so we can identify what is their true problem that they're trying to solve and find out if a website is going to help them. Because I got to tell you this, a website is not going to solve the problem of most businesses. They need more than just a website. And so when you're looking at people's budgets, I just want to remind you that they lack wisdom because a lot of people are not taking the time to diagnose their customers or their prospects, I should say, and really make sure that they can actually present a solution that's going to solve their problem and attach a fair amount to it, not just the number they made up, not just the number that they saw the competitor, in quotes, charge, right? So knowing this, anytime I talk to a prospect, I know if they have a proposal, or I'm sorry, if they have a budget or they have a number in mind, I know that there's a lack of wisdom. So I'm going to reset and I'm going to make it a point that during my sales process, I am asking enough questions to really get deep into the real problem that they're solving and see what they actually need to solve it. And so that is the whole deal with budgets. Imagine right now, people are making decisions. Like imagine you're a doctor and you have a patient and you're making decisions to get somebody to do an operation or not without the proper diagnosis. And it's like, hey doctor, I only have a budget of $1,500 for my surgery. but my surgery, in order for my life to be saved, is $20,000. Well, am I not gonna do it because it's not in the budget? No, of course I want to do it. I'm gonna figure it out, right? I'm gonna be resourceful. I'm gonna figure that out. So imagine this: you got people that are carrying around someone else's information and dumping it onto you. Somebody's capabilities, skills, expertise, wisdom is like just being dumped onto you. So I think that's very limiting. So let's dive into the root of the problem. I don't want to waste anybody's time and just tell you, oh, this is how you overcome the objection by saying this one line. I don't want to get caught up in the script side. I can tell you the exact thing to say, but if you don't get what I'm about to share with you, it's not going to work. Long term is not going to serve you. So I don't just want to give you the line. I want to make sure that you have context so you can actually overcome these budget objections. So here are the possible routes. I want to dive deep into the problem and not get caught up in superficial land and try to fix the symptoms here. So one, there is a lack of a sales process. And if you have a sales process, consider that you don't. And if you think you do, it could be better, right? So there's a fundamental lack of a clear, concise sales process that can really diagnose people's problems and truly meet people where they're at in their journey and meet them in a way that you're clear on what the problems are so you can actually help them. So that's the first thing. The second thing is qualifying people before your call. And that comes that all stems from your sales process. If you're just taking somebody, you know, randomly and like now you're like doing this 45-minute call and you didn't qualify them, what's going to happen is that lack of a refined, clear sales process is going to bite you in the butt because you're going to be talking to somebody that are way too far in the journey and they're not ready to truly invest in their business and in themselves. So you should not take those clients unless you, I don't know, unless you don't want to make money. You can take low paying clients because I'm sorry if I'm being heavy handed here. If you're not charging enough, people are not going to be committed to themselves and you're doing a disservice to them by taking on their shenanigans, their low budgets for projects that in reality they really want to get the results they want. They need more resources. So I'm just being honest here, guys. Forgive me. So qualifying people before your sales call. Third part here is your offer. Your offer might not be an irresistible take my money offer. It might just be a website. And so if you're selling a website for, let's say, $5,000, but the guy has 3,000, but you're selling a website, he's looking for a website, tomatoes, like what's the difference here? Like what's the actual distinction here? So it all stems from your offer. If you don't have an irresistible take my money offer, what's going to happen is you're going to be operating from a commodity, from a commoditized market where everybody's competing on price. There's a gazillion web designers. Who's going to do it cheaper? Is it Fiverr? Is it me? Is it you? Like who's going to do it? And it's just not a great place to operate a business. So if you truly want to overcome these budget objections, you really want to take a look at your offer and make sure that it's one that the perceived value is so much higher than the price that people are like, yes, I want it. It makes sense because I see the value. So that's the third one. The fourth one is the lack of confidence. And this comes from the lack of confidence that is attached to your self-worth, your identity, your beliefs, your skills, right? Because I truly believe to be able to have confidence, the recipe for confidence is competence. And competence means the ability to deliver a result. Once you start delivering results, you automatically become more competent, and competence is going to add up, and that's ultimately what creates confidence. So if you're taking on people that are telling you $3,000 and that's their budget, you might lack the skill sets, the confidence to the self-worth to be able to say, no, it's going to be 10K and here's why, right? So lack of confidence and ultimately the attachment to our beliefs, our identity, our skills, our self-worth. Okay. Next, your relationship with money. If if you think $3,000 is a lot of money, other people are gonna think it's a lot of money. Therefore, when they say 3,000, that's their budget, you're gonna be stuck. I don't know what your relationship is with money. I'm gonna do a separate video diving onto this individually because there's a lot here, and I know this. There's a lot that I can share with you guys, but this video would be 14 hours long. So I don't know where you're at with your relationship with money, but it's something worth looking into because if you think $3,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 is a lot, then you're going to be getting people that just say their budgets and you just don't have the confidence to say more because it's not in you. There's a lack of a relationship with finances, and that's a muscle that needs to be straightened out. I had to do that in order for me to charge more. I really had to work on my relationship with money. Again, I'll have another video about that because I have a lot to share on that topic alone. And so leads me to the next part here, which is financial circumstances. So when people are talking about their budget and stuff like that, they're talking about their current financial circumstance. And a lot of times we think it's just about their circumstances, but we don't realize that we also have circumstances that we're dealing with that we're not being present to that is actually impacting our sales call. So if we're talking to someone and rent is due or the mortgage is due or the car bill is due, the lease is due, and you're like, you have this need, that circumstance that you're dealing with in regards to money is going to be transferred over to your prospect. And you're not even going to be able to put yourself in a position where you can ask for more because there's a circumstance. You're like, you know what? I'll just take it. I'll figure it out. I need this money. And that need is what gets us to just stick with people's budgets as opposed to actually overcoming that objection. The next thing I like to call, I don't know if you guys ever heard this before. There is, when you make a transaction, when you actually buy something, you become familiar with that transaction, right? If you bought a computer, what is it, like $1,500, $2,000 for a MacBook? If you buy a computer, you have a relationship with that transaction. You know that is, $1,500 to $2,000 for the Apple computer. If you bought a car cash, you spend whatever, 15K, 20K, 25K for a pre-owned car. We'll have another conversation about that instead of a new one. And you might know, okay, it's $25,000 cash. You have that relationship. A lot of people, they don't pay their cars cash. It's like how much down, how much a month, and then they're getting this finance car. So all they know is like, oh, I spent $150 on my car payment, and there's a lack of familiarity with a transaction, with a large transaction, and I call this the lack of transaction familiarity. So if you haven't invested $5,000, 5,800, 7,800, 9,800, 12K, 20K, 30K into your business, there is a lack of transaction familiarity. So what that does is there's a lack of awareness that is even possible. And so if you haven't invested in yourself, if you haven't put money into growing your business, when somebody tells you to have a $3,000 budget, you're like, oh, that's it. It's only 3K because that's what I'm familiar with. I can go higher. And I'm like, I know I want to charge more, but why can't I charge more? Or why can I stick to my guns? Well, there's a lack of transaction familiarity. And again, I want to dive deep into separate videos because I know I can share so much more about this. Missing a core value. There's something missing here. If you're dealing with budgets, and if you lack this core value, this belief in this core value called being resourceful, it's going to be very challenging for you to overcome this objection. And what I mean by that is when, like, first of all, I truly believe that people don't have money issues, they have resourcefulness opportunities. Like, if I tell you, hey, I'm going to sell you a Ferrari for $10,000, you will find even if you don't have the money, you will find the freaking money to get that, knowing that the car is worth $350,000. So it's all about being resourceful, right? When you see the value in something, we're very, very smart and witty, and we can make magic happen. So this core value, being resourceful, is something that I truly believe. So when I talk to my clients or my prospects, I transfer that belief over to them. Because if this is like, oh, I have a budget. Yeah, no, that's great that you have a budget. But this is the problem that we're trying to solve. And this is how much. And in my head, I know that people don't have money issues. They have resourcefulness opportunities. And when I share this with people, I've literally tell these people, like I say this to people over the phone. There's no, like, I truly believe that people don't have money issues. We have resourcefulness opportunities. If you don't see, if this is a money thing, I always like to go back to the value, because I know there's a missed opportunity there. If somebody thinks it's expensive when it's too much, that's simply the fact that the actual value is low and is really close to the price. In order for you to sell a $10,000 anything, it needs to be $100,000 worth of value. Otherwise, people are going to think it's too much. And so knowing that is extremely important, because if you don't, you're going to be stuck on doing the same thing, just saying yes to their budget and not pushing for more, knowing that is going to help them and you to get them results. And so to summarize these issues, it all comes from the lack of skills, like your offer, your sales process, your beliefs around money, your self-worth, right? Your identity. And again, I'm going to make a video where I dive deeper into each one, because there's a lot here that I can talk about for hours. So I want to invite you to think about which one you might be dealing with. It might be one of them, it might be all of them. And do me a favor and comment below, which one do you see that is getting on the way and is the reason why you're not able to overcome this budget constraint? Is it your offer? Is it your sales process? Is it your beliefs? Is it your identity? Right? Your beliefs around money, your beliefs around who you are, your skills, right? Your ability to solve problems. Like, what is it? And I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to help. So make sure you comment below so I see which one you're dealing with, so I can help. And I'm sure everybody here in the community, everybody on YouTube can also contribute as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing. So that's pretty much it for now, guys. I've been walking around in circles. I walk around with this giant stick on my neck, and there's so many cars passing by. It's so funny. I shared in my last video how ridiculous I look with this pogo stick on my freaking neck. So that's pretty much it for now, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe and share this to someone who might be dealing with budget constraints. And with that being said, create a beautiful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye, everyone.
See you on the next video.